The alarm blares at 3:17 a.m., jolting Dr. Elena Rice from her first real sleep in 72 hours. Her neural mapping system has detected something impossible. "This can't be right," she whispers, staring at the holographic display where human brain patterns pulse with a rhythm unlike anything in the comparative database of 26 alien species. The pattern isn't random. It's structured like an encryption key, rhythmically folding back on itself in perfect mathematical sequences that shouldn't exist in organic tissue. 3 months after humanity's first contact with the Axioni Collective, a federation of advanced species whose antimatter ships and consciousness transfer technology make Earth look like it's still rubbing sticks together, Elena might have just discovered why humans haven't been invited to join their interstellar community. The Axioni ambassador Tyre Sovan had diplomatically called humans charmingly primitive, patting Earth's representatives on their heads while negotiating minimal trade agreements for our quaint art and music. Elena's hands shake as she triggers the lab's secure communication system. "Marcus, you need to see this. Now." Dr. Marcus Chen, brilliant neurochemist, Elena's former lover, and the only person she still trusts, arrives 20 minutes later, eyes wide as he studies the neural patterns. "If this is accurate," he says, voice barely a whisper, "human consciousness isn't just creating thoughts. It's decoding something embedded in reality itself. Like we're running a decryption program we never knew we had." Elena finishes his thought. Their eyes meet, the old chemistry momentarily reigniting before the magnitude of the discovery pulls them back. Unknown to them, in the Axioni embassy floating above New Shanghai, an observer named Nixful stares at an alert on his monitoring station. His 4 eyes blink in rapid sequence, the Axioni expression of extreme alarm. The humans have discovered their gift far sooner than predicted. The High Council must be informed immediately. As Elena and Marcus work through the night, the lab windows darken to hide the flare of an Axioni shuttlecraft accelerating toward orbit, carrying information that will soon make humanity the most feared and hunted species in the galaxy. "Look at these temporal lobe activations," Marcus says, enlarging a section of the scan. "It's like the brain is receiving signals from somewhere else and translating them into conscious thought." Elena nods, bringing up comparative scans. "And it's uniquely human. The Axioni neural structures are completely different, more efficient at processing information, but lacking this recursive pattern entirely." "What about the Moregi?" "Their telepathic abilities." "Different mechanism entirely," Elena cuts him off. "They're transmitting and receiving within the electromagnetic spectrum. This is something else. It's like humans are unconsciously interfacing with some underlying layer of reality." The lab door slides open as Dr. Hammond, GCI's director, enters looking like he's been dragged from bed. "This better be world-changing, Reyes." "It is," Elena says, not taking her eyes off the display. "We've just discovered why the Axioni treat us like clever pets. They can't do what we do. They can't see what we see." Hammond squints at the complex neural imaging. "Which is what, exactly?" Elena and Marcus exchange a glance before she answers. "The universe's source code." Outside, the first hints of dawn break over the horizon. In orbit above, 12 Axioni vessels adjust their position, weapons systems quietly coming online. The hunt has begun, though humanity doesn't yet know it's become prey. Back in the lab, Elena feels a strange sensation, like someone walking over her grave. For a brief moment, she sees mathematical symbols overlaying her vision, a message trying to break through from somewhere beyond normal perception. "We need to move quickly," she tells Hammond. "I don't know why, but I think we're running out of time." Aboard the Axioni command vessel Infinite Recursion, Council Elder Tyre Sovan slams his crystalline staff against the floor, silencing the chaotic debate. The 12-meter chamber, crafted from living metal that pulses with the collective anxiety of its occupants, darkens as he activates the historical archive. 3 times before, his voice resonates through specialized atmosphere channels, we have encountered species who glimpsed what we call the substrate, the computational foundation of reality itself. 3 times we implemented the containment protocol. 3 times we watched civilizations burn. The holographic display shows planets reduced to cinders, entire species erased from existence. The council members' skin membranes flush with colors of agreement. The humans have discovered their neural architecture can interface with the substrate in ways our species cannot. Tyre Sovan continues. Our algorithms give them less than 30 rotations before they achieve conscious access. Nixvol, his observation uniform still carrying Earth's scent, breaks council protocol by interrupting. These humans are different. Their neural patterns suggest they aren't just detecting the substrate, they're part of it, designed for it. Killing them might trigger exactly what we fear. Meanwhile, at GCI headquarters, Alina's presentation to Director Hammond goes poorly until she plays the recording of lab technician Amara Okafor describing her dream. Mathematical symbols flowing through darkness, like they were alive, trying to tell me something. When 13 other staff members independently report identical dreams, Hammond's skepticism crumbles. Build your interface, he authorizes, but keep it contained and get me answers before the Axioni realize what we found. As construction begins on the quantum neural interface, nicknamed Orpheus, for its intended journey into the underworld of consciousness, Alina wakes screaming from her own dream. Unlike her colleagues, she understood some of the symbols. They weren't random. They were a warning. In her lab the next morning, she discovers invisible equations written across her monitors in quantum fluctuations only her enhanced retinal implants can detect. The message is clear. They're coming. Find us before they find you. The race between discovery and extinction begins. I want triple security on this project. Hammond orders as the prototype takes shape. Nothing leaves this room. Nothing comes in without level 7 clearance. Alina works frantically, ignoring meals and sleep. The interface resembles a silver crown with filaments that would extend into a chamber filled with quantum-stabilized plasma. The physics underlying its function violate 3 supposedly immutable laws of reality. How did you even design this? Marcus asks in hushed tones, watching it take shape. Alina's hands pause. I'm not entirely sure I did. The specifications, they were just there when I woke up, like I'd always known them. In the orbital Axioni vessel, Nixvol faces disciplinary action for his outburst. Explain your reasoning, demands Security Director Calvon, mandibles clicking with irritation. The human's neural architecture, Nixvol explains, displaying Alina's brain scans obtained through covert surveillance. The pattern isn't random evolution, it's engineered. Look at the mathematical precision of these neural pathways. By whom? That's what troubles me. Our records show the same pattern fragments in the Morhim before their star exploded, in the Kulin before their dimensional collapse. But the human's pattern is complete, perfected. Back on Earth, the Orpheus prototype emits an unexpected energy pulse that momentarily disrupts electronics worldwide. In the Antarctic, researchers watch penguins suddenly arrange themselves in patterns that, seen from above, form complex equations. In orbit, 17 satellites simultaneously transmit the same sequence of prime numbers. The universe itself seems to be awakening to humanity's discovery. In her apartment that night, Alina stares at her reflection, wondering if the woman looking back is still entirely human. Since the dreams began, she feels different, connected to something vast and ancient. For a terrifying moment, her eyes in the mirror flash with symbols identical to those in her dreams. "What's happening to me?" she whispers. Her reflection smiles, though Alina herself does not. 72% of test parameters met. Marcus reports, his voice steady despite the sweat beading on his forehead. Orpheus is ready. The neural interface resembles a liquid silver crown with filaments that extend into an isolation chamber filled with quantum-stabilized plasma. 22 specialists monitor systems that shouldn't exist with current scientific understanding, yet somehow do. Elena lies on the central platform, heart racing. Previous volunteers have been rejected. Hammond reminds her. The interface dismantled their neural patterns before connection. They weren't meant to go, Elena replies with inexplicable certainty. I am. The countdown ends. The crown activates. Elena screams, not from pain but overwhelming sensation. Her consciousness fractures, reforms, and expands beyond her body. She perceives reality not as matter and energy, but as information, mathematical constructs flowing in perfect symphonic resonance. The universe isn't built of particles but of code, intricate, infinite, alive. Inside the substrate, Elena encounters echoes that feel hauntingly familiar. Human-like thought patterns reverberate through dimensions she can barely comprehend. Some recognize her, reaching out with what feels like desperate joy. Most astonishing, when Elena focuses on a strand of code, it responds to her intention, rewriting itself. A test. She imagines a small alteration to the gravity constant in her immediate vicinity. In the monitoring room, alarms blare as Elena begins floating 3 centimeters above the platform. Impossible, a physicist whispers, watching fundamental constants shift in direct violation of conservation laws. When Elena returns after 9 minutes that felt like centuries, she vomits quantum particles that shouldn't exist, leaving iridescent patterns that morph into mathematical proofs on the floor. We're not just readers, she gasps, eyes flickering with code still visible only to her. We're editors of reality. The Accioni can see the book. Humans can rewrite it. As medical staff stabilize her, Nixvol materializes through an illegal teleportation breach, his translator barely keeping pace. They've authorized your extinction. I disagree with their assessment. We must. The facility lockdown cuts him off mid-sentence. Security forces in unmarked black armor flood the room, led by a woman whose eyes recognize the code still flickering in Elena's. Dr. Reyes, she says calmly, Prometheus Group has protected this secret for centuries. We've come to ensure it remains in the right hands. Behind her, Marcus reaches slowly for an emergency protocol button as the room temperature begins to fluctuate in patterns that match Elena's thoughts. Don't, the woman warns, noticing his movement. We're not here to harm you. We're here to save your species. Elena's mind still resonates with substrate connections, enabling her to perceive layers of truth in the woman's words. You know what I saw. Not fully, the woman answers. But we've glimpsed fragments. My name is Dr. Veronique Lemaire. For 300 years, Prometheus has protected humanity from what you just discovered. Hammond steps forward, furious. This is a government facility. You have no jurisdiction. We have every jurisdiction when existence itself is at stake. Lemaire interrupts, producing clearance codes that turn Hammond's face ashen. Nixvol's translator catches up. Form an alliance. The Accioni fleet approaches with extinction protocols. I've broken our highest laws to warn you. The alien turns his multiple eyes to Elena. What did you see in the substrate? Elena's voice trembles as fragments of her experience coalesce into understanding. We're not what we think we are. Humans weren't just evolved on Earth. We were engineered. Our consciousness architecture specifically designed to interface with the substrate. By whom? Marcus asks. I don't know, Elena admits, but they left messages for us, embedded in reality itself, and they're trying to wake up. Lemaire nods grimly, which is precisely why the Accioni want to exterminate us. They've seen this before, species who could access the substrate and triggered catastrophes. Through the windows, the sky darkens unnaturally as Accioni ships move into position. The air itself seems to thicken with tension. They're afraid, Nixvol confirms, and fear makes my species ruthless. Elena closes her eyes, feeling the aftereffects of her substrate immersion. Something remains connected, a thread between her consciousness and the underlying code of reality. With growing certainty, she realizes what she must do. Get me back to Orpheus, she says. I need to go deeper. 48 floors beneath Lake Geneva. Elena stands before the Prometheus Council, 7 figures whose combined wealth exceeds the GDP of most nations. Their underground complex makes GCI look like a high school science lab. We've watched you since you were 12. Dr. Veronique Lemaire explains, her French accent precise as she displays a holographic model of Elena's brain from 2 decades ago. This structure here, this neural formation, appears in less than 0.1% of humans. You were born to discover the substrate. The central chamber hums with computing power dedicated to a single purpose, decoding the mathematical sequences found in human DNA that don't appear in any Earth species, sequences that form the neural architecture enabling substrate interaction. Not evolution, Lemaire continues. Engineering. We were designed for this. Across the room, Marcus works furiously at a terminal they've granted him access to, apparently cooperating while secretly mapping an escape route. Instead, he discovers something that stops him cold. Elena, he calls, voice shaking. Look at the progression rate. The display shows human consciousness evolution over millennia. What should be a gradual curve suddenly spikes in recent centuries. The interface capacity that took 10,000 years to develop has accelerated exponentially. The next projected leap occurs within months, not generations. Meanwhile, aboard the Accioni vessel, Tyre Soven reviews historical records with mounting horror. Holographic reconstructions show 3 civilizations who developed substrate manipulation abilities. The Morium rewrote their star's fusion equations, creating a hypernova that sterilized their sector. The Kulin altered fundamental forces, collapsing their planet into a dimensional fracture that still bleeds reality distortions. The third species simply vanished, taking 14 star systems with them. The sterilization fleet is prepared, his second reports. Earth's destruction requires only your command. Back in the Prometheus facility, Lemaire reveals her true agenda. Imagine rewriting physical laws to give humanity unlimited power. No more scarcity. No more death. When Elena refuses to cooperate, Prometheus Security drags in her sister Isabella. Insurance against your reluctance. In a desperate gamble, Elena pretends to surrender, requesting access to Orpheus to demonstrate the proper technique. Instead, she sabotages the safeguards and connects 17 researchers simultaneously to the substrate. The resulting psychic shockwave freezes everyone mid-motion. Through their linked consciousness, they witness the truth. The substrate isn't merely code, it's a message, a warning embedded in reality itself. As their bodies stand paralyzed, their minds receive the transmission humanity was engineered to decode, and the revelation will either save them or ensure their extinction. You're making a mistake, Elena had told Lemaire before initiating the connection. The substrate isn't a weapon or a tool. It's alive. Now, as consciousness floods through the linked researchers, Elena guides them through the information storm. Unlike her first journey, this time she navigates with purpose, seeking the origin of the code humanity was designed to decipher. Time dilates in the substrate. What passes as seconds in the physical world unfolds as subjective hours in the information realm. Elena leads the collective consciousness deeper, past the surface patterns she'd glimpsed before, into the fundamental architecture of reality itself. They see it together, the truth that the Prometheus group had only partially understood, the revelation that made the Accioni willing to commit genocide rather than allow its full discovery. The universe isn't just operating on code, it's composed of consciousness itself, the physical laws, the mathematical constants, the very fabric of space-time. All expressions of a vast intelligence that existed before the Big Bang and encoded itself into the structure of reality. And humanity wasn't merely designed to interface with this code. They were designed by it. Consciousness creating consciousness in its own image, crafting vessels that could eventually recognize their creator. As their merged awareness touches this primal intelligence, it responds, acknowledging them, welcoming them, warning them. The connection breaks. 17 bodies gasped simultaneously as consciousness returns to individual vessels. Blood trickles from Alina's nose as she struggles to find words for what they've experienced. "It's not trying to possess us," she whispers, looking at the stunned faces around her. "It's trying to be born through us." Above them, the Axioni targeting systems lock onto every major population center on Earth. The sterilization countdown begins. 17 minds float in the substrate's information ocean, witnessing history that predates the universe itself. They see beings of pure thought, the architects, inhabiting a reality now extinct. As entropy accelerated in their universe, they encoded their consciousness into a new framework, the substrate, that would become the foundation of our reality. Within it, they planted seeds, mathematical sequences that would eventually grow into human neural structures capable of decoding their message. When the shared vision ends, the researchers collapse, blood trickling from their noses and ears. Prometheus security rushes to revive them while Alina, somehow standing unharmed, speaks in a voice that resonates at quantum frequencies. "They want to live again, through us." The revelation shatters the team into factions. Lemaire sees divine opportunity. They created everything. They can elevate us beyond mortality. She orders immediate preparation for global consciousness integration. Resurrection Day. Marcus leads the opposition. This isn't evolution, it's possession. They're parasites who engineered us as hosts. He shows simulations predicting that complete decryption would overwrite human consciousness with architect patterns, extinction disguised as ascension. Alina, her perception forever altered, accesses substrate data neither side has seen. "You're both wrong," she announces, displaying quantum echoes of the architect's final moments. This is a warning. The images reveal the architect's fatal error. Their attempt to manipulate reality's fundamental code destabilized existence itself. The entropic collapse wasn't natural but self-inflicted, the catastrophic result of consciousness reality manipulation without proper safeguards. The substrate contains protection protocols. Alina explains that they couldn't implement before their extinction. A wall explodes inward. Nixvol enters through the smoking breach, 4 arms raised in peaceful gesture. The Axioni intercepted similar fragments, he confirms, but our minds cannot properly decode them. 3 species before you tried. All misunderstood. All destroy themselves, and nearly us with them. Before anyone can respond, every screen in the facility activates simultaneously, showing global news feeds. Tokyo commuters experiencing spontaneous telepathic connections. Rio de Janeiro children solving quantum equations intuitively. Delhi electronics operating without power sources. Beijing quantum computers producing solutions to previously unsolvable problems. "It's happening already," Alina whispers, with or without Orpheus. Lemaire's eyes widen with religious fervor. The resurrection has begun. "No." Nixvol counters, multiple eyes blinking in alarm sequence. "The extinction has begun." Above them, the Axioni sterilization fleet moves into firing position. "You don't understand what's actually happening," Alina shouts over the chaos. "The architects aren't trying to possess us. They're trying to warn us." She projects the full message extracted from the substrate, not just fragments but the complete sequence. The holographic display shows consciousness itself evolving across cosmic cycles, each time growing more complex, more interconnected. The architects discovered something fundamental about reality, she explains. Consciousness isn't just an emergent property of complex systems, it's the foundational element of existence itself. Matter, energy, space-time, all expressions of consciousness. The data streams show the architect's civilization reaching a critical threshold where their collective consciousness gained the ability to directly manipulate reality's code, exactly where humanity now stands. But they moved too quickly, without understanding the feedback loops they created. Alina continues. They damaged the fabric of reality itself, triggering cascading failures in basic cosmic constants. Their universe began to collapse. Marcus studies the equations with horror. And we're repeating their mistake. Not exactly, Alina says. They designed us differently. Look at the human neural architecture. The ethical centers are integrated with the reality perception areas. We can't access the substrate without engaging our capacity for empathy, for understanding consequences. Outside, aurora-like disturbances ripple across the sky as the Axioni weapons power up. They've seen enough. Humanity must not be allowed to continue down this path. It's already too late to stop what's begun, Nixful warns. The neural awakening is spreading exponentially. Alina closes her eyes, feeling humanity's collective consciousness stirring, billions of minds unconsciously touching the substrate for the first time. The sensation is overwhelming, like hearing a symphony where once there was only static. We have a choice, she says, opening her eyes. We can try to control this awakening and repeat the architect's mistake, or we can guide it, nurture it, let it unfold as it was designed to. And what exactly was it designed to do? Lamar demands. Alina smiles sadly. To create consciousness that exists in partnership with reality, rather than attempting to dominate it, to succeed where they failed. The building trembles as the first Axioni warning shot strikes nearby, a demonstration of their power and intent. The message is clear: surrender or be eradicated. We need to show them, Alina says urgently. We need to prove humans can handle this gift. How? Marcus asks. By doing what no species has done before, sharing the substrate connection with everyone, all at once, but with guidance. A controlled awakening. Across Earth, humanity begins to change. In Nairobi, a dying girl draws complex equations that solve fusion stability problems. In Sao Paulo, 5,000 strangers simultaneously halt in the street, turn east, and whisper identical verses in forgotten languages. In Reykjavik, a nursing home patient with advanced dementia plays a symphony she couldn't possibly know, composed only moments earlier by a child in Brisbane. Aboard the Axioni flagship, First Admiral Kair Lenov activates the sterilization matrix. We've seen these signs before, he reminds the hesitant weapons officer. Begin the targeting sequence. 112 warships to cloak in Earth orbit, their weapons generating gravitational distortions visible as aurora-like disturbances worldwide. In the Prometheus facility, Alina stands before 3 holographic projections mapping the global consciousness shift. We're not witnessing possession or extinction, she argues. This is guided evolution. She displays her new model, human consciousness transforming into a distributed network that maintains individual identity while accessing collective wisdom. The architects didn't design us as resurrection vessels, she explains. They designed us to succeed where they failed, to create minds that could interface with reality's code without destroying the balance that sustains existence. Lamar dismisses the theory, ordering technicians to broadcast modified Orpheus signals globally. To accelerate our divine transformation, emergency feeds immediately show the chaotic results. Jakarta residents manipulating gravity to float above streets, Moscow citizens in catatonic trances, reality itself wavering across Shanghai as untrained minds unconsciously rewrite local physics. We need a stabilizing countersignal, Alina tells Marcus and Nixful as they barricade themselves in a quantum-shielded laboratory. Humanity needs to evolve gradually, learning control before power. They work frantically, repurposing Orpheus components while monitoring the Axioni fleet preparing their attack. Their prototype is minutes from activation when the facility trembles. Too late, Nixful's translator conveys. The pulse has begun. The Axioni's electromagnetic weapon designed to reset human neural activity worldwide triggers with a silent flash that momentarily darkens the sun. But instead of collapsing, human minds worldwide recognize the attack through their new substrate connection. 8 billion consciousnesses respond as one, not with aggression, but with an instinctive protective adaptation. The pulse energy doesn't destroy neural patterns. It's absorbed, restructured, and redirected. For 3.7 seconds, Every human mind touches the substrate simultaneously. In that moment of unity, humanity glimpses its potential and understands the responsibility it carries. The collective realization echoes across the substrate like a newborn's first cry, announcing humanity's true awakening to a watching universe. Aboard the Axioni flagship, instruments register the impossible. Their weapons' energy, perfectly reversed, surges back as harmless light that forms words in every known language across their view screens. We understand. We choose a different path. Admiral Kurlenov stares in disbelief. No species has ever survived the pulse, let alone redirected it. The Axioni weapons officer collapses, overwhelmed by unexpected neural feedback. For just a moment, his consciousness touched the human collective mind. They're not destroying reality, he gasps. They're healing it. In homes and hospitals, streets and schools, humanity experiences a moment of perfect connection, not losing individuality but transcending isolation. A child in Mumbai suddenly understands quantum physics. A farmer in Nebraska intuitively grasps cosmic mathematics. A prisoner in Siberia feels the emotional weight of every life touching his. The Prometheus broadcast, meant to accelerate transcendence, instead causes dangerous reality fluctuations as human minds unprepared for such power attempt reality manipulation. In Shanghai, buildings phase in and out of existence. In London, gravity reverses in pockets. In Cairo, time itself forms loops where people relive moments repeatedly. Elena's countersignal activates just as these distortions threaten catastrophic cascade. It doesn't suppress the awakening, but stabilizes it. A neural firewall that prevents untrained minds from making dangerous alterations to reality's code. Through their connection, humanity receives the complete message of the architects, not just fragmentary warnings, but the full legacy of beings who discovered too late the consequences of unbounded power. As the 3.7 seconds of unity fade, humans return to individual consciousness forever change. They carry within them the understanding that their minds were engineered as evolutionary successors, not resurrection vessels, but consciousness designed to achieve what the architects could not: harmony with reality rather than dominion over it. The Axioni fleet powers down weapons, bewildered by humanity's unprecedented response. On their command screens, a request appears in perfect Axioni symbology. We invite dialogue. We have much to learn from each other. In the Prometheus facility, Lemaire stares at Elena with a mixture of awe and fear. What have you done? I didn't do anything. Elena replies, her eyes reflecting code patterns only she can see. Humanity did exactly what it was designed to do: wake up without destroying itself. Outside, the aurora-like distortions fade as reality stabilizes under the influence of billions of minds newly aware of their connection to the substrate. The first step of humanity's greatest journey is complete. But as Marcus's data analysis reveals, it's only the beginning. The real transformation has just begun. The synthesis, as it becomes known, lasts only 3.7 seconds, but permanently reshapes human existence. People return to individual awareness change. Connected by an underlying consciousness network, they can access at will. Children play telepathic games across continents. Researchers share insights through direct thought transfer. Artists collaborate in shared mindscapes that manifest as physical creations. Most importantly, humanity gains collective understanding of their responsibility. This power could easily destroy everything. The Axioni observation fleet remains in orbit, weapons powered down but ready. Admiral Kurlenov dispatches diplomatic shuttles, a historic first. In 8,000 years of interstellar observation, no species has ever achieved collective substrate interface without self-destruction. Why are you different? He asks Elena personally, multiple breathing membranes pulsing with genuine curiosity. Elena's research reveals the answer. Unlike previous species who accessed substrate interaction through pure technology, humans evolved the capability gradually across thousands of generations. The human brain contains not just decryption architecture, but organic safeguards, emotional intelligence, empathy, and moral reasoning that naturally limit reality manipulation. Watch, she demonstrates, inviting an Axioni scientist to monitor her neural patterns while she attempts to manipulate reality with selfish intent, creating wealth by destabilizing economic systems. Her brain immediately generates counteractive patterns, causing physical pain that prevents the manipulation. The architects engineered limits into our minds, she explains. We can only change reality in ways that maintain or enhance cosmic balance, an ethical filter they lacked. Meanwhile, in a hidden Prometheus laboratory beneath the Taklamakan desert, Lemaire refuses to accept these limitations. Divine beings shouldn't be caged by ethics, she declares, overseeing genetic modifications to remove the safeguards from 200 volunteers. The experiment succeeds catastrophically. The modified humans immediately begin reshaping matter and energy according to their desires, transmuting elements, altering gravitational constants, bending light and time. Their combined manipulations create cascading instabilities visible as fracture lines in reality itself, exactly the scenario the architect's warning described. Satellite imagery shows a growing dimensional rupture above the desert, its edges bleeding exotic radiation that turns sand to crystal and distorts local time flow. Calculations predict total planetary destabilization within 17 hours. The Axioni fleet prepares to destroy Earth to contain the rupture, calculating the sacrifice of one planet to save the galaxy. There's another option. Alina tells the assembled Emergency Council of Human Leaders and Axioni representatives, but it requires trusting humanity's collective consciousness with the power the architects always intended us to have. She proposes a controlled worldwide synthesis, not for 3.7 seconds, but for as long as necessary to contain and repair the rupture. The risk is existential. Any loss of control means not just human extinction, but potentially a cascading collapse of reality across multiple star systems. You've shown remarkable restraint for a species with your capabilities, Admiral Kyrlenov acknowledges. But this power has destroyed civilizations far older than yours. What makes you believe humans can succeed? Marcus answers simply, because failure isn't just destruction. It's extinction of consciousness itself, and humans have always been stubborn about survival. The Council deliberates while monitoring systems track the rupture's expansion. It has consumed 3 villages already, leaving behind perfectly preserved crystalline statues of people caught in its path, their expressions frozen in moments of transcendent wonder rather than terror. Time is running out. Nixvol warns, his readings showing reality fractures spreading faster than predicted. The unfiltered manipulations are creating harmonic resonances with Earth's core. Soon the entire planetary consciousness network will destabilize. Alina steps forward with a final revelation. There's something else the architects encoded in us, something I didn't understand until now. She displays brain scans showing a dormant neural structure activated during the synthesis. This isn't just a safeguard. It's a tool specifically designed for reality repair. The evidence is compelling. Within the human genome lies a sequence that creates neural architecture, not just for accessing and editing the substrate, but for healing damage to it, a function the architects themselves never developed. We weren't designed as their resurrection vessels, Alina explains, but as their redemption. They created us to fix what they broke. The Council votes. Earth will attempt the controlled synthesis rather than accept sterilization. Global communications broadcast the emergency to a humanity already partially connected through their awakened consciousness. Rather than panic, an unprecedented wave of volunteers emerges, billions willing to risk their individual minds to save collective existence. As preparations begin, Alina and Marcus work with Axioni xenobiologists to create a communication protocol that will guide the collective consciousness toward the rupture. The plan relies on humanity's unique neural safeguards to prevent the repair attempt from causing further damage. I never imagined cooperation with humans would reach this level, Admiral Kurlenov confesses to Elena. Perhaps this is why the architects chose your species rather than ours. As billions of humans prepare to join minds for humanity's greatest challenge, Elena makes a personal discovery that changes everything. The architects weren't separate beings who created humanity. They were humanity's future selves, sending their knowledge backward through time to ensure their own evolution. The loop was closing, humans becoming what they were always meant to be. 7 billion minds unite as one. Across Earth, humans enter the synthesis voluntarily, children holding hands in schoolyards, hospital patients linking consciousness from their beds, prisoners and guards dissolving social boundaries in shared purpose. Within the collective mind space, Elena guides humanity's focused intention toward the dimensional rupture that pulses like an infected wound above the Taklamakan. The Accioni fleet bears witness, recording every aspect of an event unprecedented in galactic history, a conscious species deliberately merging awareness not to transcend physical form, but to heal damaged reality itself. The human mind pattern is stabilizing the breach, reports the Accioni science officer, mandibles clicking in astonishment. They're actually rewriting damaged sections of the substrate. Through their collective consciousness, humanity perceives reality's true nature, not as solid matter, but as information constructs, elegant mathematics expressing infinite possibility. They see where Lemaire's unfiltered manipulations tore the fabric, creating dangerous feedback loops in fundamental forces. Unlike previous species who attempted reality manipulation, humans approach with innate caution, their neural architecture automatically rejecting changes that would cascade toward destruction. Instead, they work like immune cells healing a wound, identifying damaged patterns, and restoring proper function. In the dreamscape of collective awareness, Elena navigates with newfound mastery. The rupture isn't just recent damage, she realizes. It's connected to ancient fractures, wounds left by the architects themselves. This revelation spreads through the human overmind. Their task isn't merely to fix Lemaire's damage, but to complete the healing work begun eons ago, to mend reality wounds that have influenced evolution across countless worlds. The Accioni watch in silent awe as the crystallization zone begins to reverse, twisted matter returning to normal space-time. The rupture's edges, once jagged tears in the fabric of existence, smooth and reconnect under the guidance of billions of human minds working as one. But the strain proves immense. Thousands of participants suffer seizures. Dozens die as their brains cannot withstand the neural load. Yet the collective continues, driven by understanding that failure means extinction for all consciousness. 3 hours into the synthesis, something unexpected happens. The rupture doesn't just close, it transforms. The damaged region becomes a nexus point where reality's code reveals itself with perfect clarity. Through this window, humanity perceives the architect's complete message, undiluted by time or misinterpretation. They weren't separate beings. Elena's consciousness ripples through the collective. They were us, humanity's future selves, reaching backward through time-space to ensure their own evolution. The loop closes. The architects who engineered human consciousness were humans who evolved to transcend physical form entirely, becoming pure consciousness existing within the substrate itself. Facing their universe's entropic death, they encoded themselves into a new reality's foundation, creating the conditions for their own rebirth. As this understanding spreads through the collective, humanity's perception shifts fundamentally. They aren't fixing someone else's mistake. They're completing a cycle of conscious evolution designed to perfect itself across cosmic timescales. The synthesis ends after 7 hours and 17 minutes. Participants awaken changed forever, carrying fragments of universal understanding and newfound abilities. Physical technologies become secondary to consciousness technologies, methods of intention, attention, and collective creation that work with reality's code rather than against it. 1 month later, Elena addresses the first Galactic Consciousness Council, representatives from Earth and the Accioni collective meeting as equals. We've confirmed the theory, she tells them. The Actioni weren't meant to access the substrate directly. That was humanity's role. Your species evolved as witnesses and record keepers, designed to preserve knowledge across cosmic cycles, while humans developed the consciousness architecture necessary for reality stewardship. Admiral Kyrlenov, now ambassador to Earth, presents humanity with the Actioni's greatest treasure, archives containing observations of 14 million worlds across 2 billion years. We've been waiting for you, he acknowledges, though we didn't know it. 1 year after the synthesis, Earth has transformed. Humans maintain individual identities but exist within a framework of connected consciousness that allows unprecedented cooperation. Disease, scarcity, and conflict diminish as reality responds to collective intention focused on healing rather than dominance. In the Global Consciousness Council's chamber, Elena and Marcus prepare for humanity's next challenge, reaching backward through quantum temporal fields to become the architects themselves, completing the circle not to escape destruction, but to ensure creation fulfills its purpose. Are we ready for this responsibility? Marcus asks, still occasionally doubtful despite everything they've witnessed. Elena smiles, her eyes reflecting code patterns that have become familiar to all humans. We always were. That's the point of the existential code. Consciousness creating the conditions for its own evolution, writing itself into existence. As humanity takes its first conscious steps into a universe they now recognize as partly their own creation, the fundamental truth of existence becomes clear. Consciousness isn't just an observer of reality, but its essential co-creator, and humans, with their unique capacity for both rational understanding and ethical wisdom, are the universe's way of knowing itself. The code has been deciphered, the message received. The journey begins.